Hey puppy people, it's Cindy. I want to talk to you today about something that I hope you won't have to use, but in case you do, it might be helpful for you. And that is how to keep your dog occupied while they recover from surgery. And this is something you're going to need if you've got a puppy. They're just going through the routine spay and neuter, but also sometimes they need medical intervention and invention for other things. If your dog has ACL tear, luxating patellas are very common. Who knows what weird thing that may keep your dog on the disabled list, so to speak, where they need to be confined, especially if they're doing something orthopedically, like with the legs, where they can't be moving around because once they've had surgery, if they move too much, obviously it could impair the recovery of it. So oftentimes your vet will say, please keep them quiet and or confined. So this is why I like to do crate training, not just for potty issues and house manners when they're puppies, to teach them and to keep them safe so that they're not getting into potentially dangerous things, but also as they get older, you may have to keep them confined in a crate if you're going to travel with them, especially when you do a lot of airline travel. You may have to keep them confined in a crate if they're recovering from surgery. If they've had a luxating patella surgery, ACL tear, anything like that, once the surgery is complete, of course you're going to have to keep them limited mobility. So I want to give you some tips for that. So those of you that don't know who I am, where have you been? No, just kidding. I'm Cindy Scott. I am the director of Dogs Etc. Dog Training. I've been a holistic dog trainer and behaviorist for 30 years. It's crazy. And I am all about what's going to be simple and easy and get the fastest results for you and your dog. So let's get into it. How do you keep your dog quiet and still while they recover from surgery? This is going to be your best friend, okay? We want to give them some mental exercise when they can't be doing physical exercise. So utilizing, obviously the Kong toy doesn't have to be this brand. There's lots of different knockoff brands, but anything that works for you and your dog, because the beauty of it is this little hole in the middle where you stuff it full of food. So instead of feeding them in a bowl, it takes them literally 10 seconds to eat, and then they're bored. They're like, okay, what else you got? Next. This may take them 10 minutes, 15 minutes to get all the food out. So you put the food in there. If it's dry food, you wet it a little bit, maybe mush a little banana, a little sweet potato, a little baby food. Yes, baby food, to just kind of mush it in there a little bit. We don't want to use a lot of treats. We don't want to use a lot of things that aren't good for your dog, especially if they're recovering from surgery. We don't want to pack on the pounds when they can't get out there and burn more calories, shall we say. So make them work for their food. Experiment with what to put in there that's safe for your dog. And obviously this is a small one, so if you have a Rottweiler, this is not the appropriate size. You want a bigger one. If they're a Great Dane or a Mastiff and they're having large meals, maybe a couple of cups several times a day, you could do 2 or 3 of these. Okay, and it's about keeping them busy doing this so they're not getting stir crazy and they're making you crazy too. Now, the bonus with using this is, remember, you can also freeze them. So this is straight out of my freezer, and I put them, they're freezing cold, hence out of the freezer. And I have them packed with kibble. Most of it's kibble. I have a little treat at the bottom, and then I put just a little bit of plain peanut butter up here. Now, when I say peanut butter, I'm talking about just peanuts. Read your labels. Make sure that it doesn't have a lot of sugar in it, xylitol, artificial sweeteners, any sugar, put it back on the shelf. It should just be nuts. And so this is just, and when we use even that, I'm not using a whole lot. I'm using maybe a teaspoon for this size Kong. So if I'm going to use a smaller Kong, I'm going to do maybe a half or a quarter teaspoon. So a little bit really goes a long way. So experiment, pack it in there to make it more challenging. So if they're eating food out of a bowl, takes them 10 seconds. They're done. Then they're barking at you, or they're jumping at the X pit or the crate, whatever you have them enclosed in. Keep them busy doing this, okay? And experiment what to put in there and freeze it. Okay? And there's different designs. Where's this one? There's different designs, so you can keep it a little interesting. You can zhuzh it up. It's not just this design. Like I said, there's different makers doing these. So just experiment with what works for you and your dog. Now, the color makes a difference. So once your dog gets all the food out of it, they like to chew on it. So it's something else to keep them busy. Now, the reason I like to put food in there is obviously it keeps them busy, but also it passively teaches them to like the Kong. So even when there's no food left in it, they're still going to chew on it. They're going to be interested in it. They're going to be, I love my Kong. This is great. That's what we want. So if they're busy chewing on the Kong, they're not barking. They're not doing other things. I always say if they're working a Kong, they're not working your last nerve. And it's so true. So the colors where these come into play is the purple ones are softer. I'm squeezing it like you can feel it. But the purple ones are made out of a softer rubber. I don't know, maybe you can see it. A softer rubber than the red ones. I cannot squeeze the red barely at all. It's a lot harder. So why is that? So the purple ones are actually for seniors. So they don't have as much jaw strength. Some seniors have lost their teeth, so it's easier for them to chew than the red ones. Now, obviously, if you have a young adult dog that's a big chewer, you don't want the purple one because they may shred it and get pieces of it off or bite marks. But that being said, some dogs, when they're empty, they will sit and chew on them, even when they could be pulling them apart. If that makes sense. So kind of experiment with what's going to work for your dog. But bottom line, if they're able to get teeth marks in this or pull it apart at all, go to the next color. Okay. The pink ones, the baby blue ones, those are for puppies. So obviously they're even softer than the purple one. So the purple one is softer than the red one. And then the black one is more durable than the red one. So the red is softer than the black. So if your dog is able to get through or put teeth marks in the red one, then you want to go to the black one. Okay, so just kind of know those guidelines. And size does make a difference. This one's just a little bit smaller than this one. You just want to be careful that it's safe for your dog, just like a toddler. You know, a little small Kong is a choking hazard for a Mastiff or a Rottie, you know, but you also want to make sure that the whole size is too big or too small for your dog to get their jaw into. Okay, so just kind of experiment. And like I said, there's different designs out there, and, you know, the size of your dog's mouth matters. So Frenchies because they got those little brachiocephalic smushed in faces, right? So the smaller holes are a little bit more challenging for them. So there are brands that have the bigger holes. Might be easier for your Frenchie or your Boston or anything like that. So keeping that in mind. But this is a great way to keep your dog occupied. For any reason, they have to be occupied, but especially after surgery. Okay, so my assistants are at the ready down here to demonstrate how you use them. So before I give it to them, let me pull it over here. Come here. So before I give it to them, I make him do something. You know, if he's jumping for it, I'm definitely not going to give it to him because then I reward the jumping. So I have him do a sit. And poor Iggy, this is really hard for him. is on cortisone and prednisone right now. He's full of steroids, which are making him really hungry. So this is like, it's doggy torture. So I make him sit, I make him wait, and I'm not telling him to do it. I just want him to do it. Go ahead, take it, you guys. So they learn to do it on their own. I am the laziest trainer there is. I don't want to be barking orders at them. I just want them to do it. So that's why I just kind of wait and make them use their little brain. But this is what you want. Oh, Rudy took his off into the other room to savor it. But this is what you want, and you can give them the Kong and have them work the Kong, whether he's standing there in the kitchen or if he's in his crate or an X-Pen or any other confined area. So I guess I was yakking on too long because my camera cut me off. That's story of my life. I've been talking too much, so even the camera, even my equipment cuts me off. So anyway, just to wrap up, if you need your dog to be occupied, whether they're recovering from surgery or another illness or for whatever reason, utilize those Kongs, keep their brain working, keep them busy mentally so that they can recover. So on that note, if you have questions, if you'd like some more information about what the next steps are for your dog, absolutely visit my website, thedogsetc.com. And there's more information about programs, classes, and you can even sign up and schedule a call with me so we can talk about the next steps and how to get your dog to that next level. So anyway, have a wonderful day. Go play with your dog. And till next time, take care. Bye-bye.